good? Good to go? Welcome everyone. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for signing up for my webinar. It sounds so official. It sounds so fancy. So we are going to be talking today about how to improve our social media presence in the church, online. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just jump on the screen share, and I'm just going to share the PowerPoint, and you can hear me talk like as I go. So here we go. Let's see, I just did it. See if it'll do it now. All right, whoops. Can you see it? All right, okay. So I'm just gonna move us up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so improving your social media presence. And who am I? Well, I am Erin Lackey. I'm one of the pastors at the Table Church here in Thermalito, California. I also am a photographer, a local photographer, and as part of my photography business, part of it, I do like social media management services, things like that. And I just recently connected with Superintendent Mark last fall to start working and kind of refreshing the conference social media and in the near future, hopefully the website. So that's kind of who I am and puts a little context to it. I wanted to start off before we get going just with this verse from 1 Corinthians. Therefore, my beloved, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Sometimes it feels like we're speaking into the wind when we're on social media, and it feels like our labor is very much in vain, because I'm like, I put up this, this event, and I put up this post and I only got 1 like, or I only got this much engagement, or how come nobody's showing up to my YouTube, or how come I only got this many views? So it can be very discouraging at times, but I loved this verse. Our work is not in vain. And I think all of the stuff that we've been doing beforehand, and just kind of with everything with COVID, how a lot of us have had to really kind of just jump in full force.
You guys said, yeah, this is the one that we want, and I'll be able to take a look at it right now. I waived $39.
I can't hear.
Also, I give you a and that means 6 months after.
Anyway, I will just keep going. So anyway, we can get discouraged, and I just want us to not get discouraged. Social media ultimately was created to kind of be fun and social. So I think it could be really fun for us in our churches. So here we go. What we're going to talk about today, kind of a little outline, the 3 laws, more like guidelines probably, for social media. Why social media, where to start, because we all want to know where to start. And then we're going to tackle some social media, and then I'm going to share a few tips and tricks, and then we'll have time for questions. So if you have questions, write them down, and then we can kind of go back and forth to all of that at the end. Okay. Here we go. So the 3 laws of social media. And this I have adapted. James and I did a presentation, my husband James, and I did a presentation a few years ago. I think it was like back in 2017 at one of the lead meetings. And so I've taken that outline, which was it's still on the conference webpage, which a little hard to find. So we're going to work on like getting that, getting everything on there, all those resources a little more streamlined. But so this is adapted from there. 3 laws of social media: do it well, be consistent, and engage with your people. So those are the 3 main things to do it well: be consistent and engage with your people. Why social media at all? Well, I think we can all pretty much answer that at this point. Back when we did this a few years ago, it was kind of an argument for social media. We were we had all these articles, and links to like why social media is so important and how it's this, you know, how we need to have it. I don't think I need to do that anymore. I don't think I need to defend why it's so important. I think we know, but just kind of a couple things here. The next slide is it does increase TOMA, which is a short term for maybe in the business world, some of you may know, top of mind awareness. So social media, the more active you are online, the more chance you have to be at the top of somebody's mind. So when I think of, so that when somebody's like, oh, you know, what church should I check out in such and such a place? Your church is one of the first ones to come to mind. And so I could say, let me think of, you know, where should I go to get tires? Let me ask you this. So probably in your mind, a tire place came to your mind, came to the top of your mind. So whatever tire place came to the top of your mind, they have obviously done a good job at being top of mind awareness, some way or the other. So that's kind of TOMA, top of mind awareness. It's mostly free, social media. Mostly, there are some ways that you can promote and boost posts and things like that. We're not going to get into all the nitty gritty of that today, but that's just one of the major things. It's just such a great resource out there for us. And again, this is the reality that we are in. It's everywhere. That's how people are mainly communicating now, especially with pandemic. So, and I think it's just going to continue as we get back into the more like regular, consistent ways of things. Even as we go back to church, I think those, the community that you've created online is still going to be there, if that makes sense. Okay. So this comes to the point now where this isn't so much of a modernity question. This becomes a pastoral question of why social media is, are you where your people are? Are you hanging out? Are you meeting them just as Jesus meets us? Are we meeting our people where they are, where they're hanging out? So there were countless studies done on social media. You can go online, just type in what's most popular social media 2021 or whatever. So I did that real quick. For 2020, the top 7 in this order, number 1 was Instagram last year. YouTube was number 2, Facebook number 3, then Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat. All of those, and then there's more. There's like this new one called Clubhouse. It's super exclusive for business owners and other social networking type stuff. I don't even get into all that. Anyway, but are you where your people are? Okay. So where do we start? Well, before we can get into the seemingly fun stuff of social media, I think we have to go back and really check out our foundations and our ground, like laying our foundation. Let's check out where our kind of pillars are there. We are going to start with the most important things. We're going to lay our foundation. So kind of just think to yourself, does your church have a logo that you can think of when you think of your church? Do you have a website with a URL? Do you have an email list or a way for congregants or people, a way to communicate with your people in a mass way, like all together? And do you have a Google business account or a way that when people type in your name on Google that you will show up? Those are probably like the 4 main things that I want us to kind of check before we even get into social media stuff. So I think this is kind of the basic structure. This is the foundation before we can move into social media. And kind of so we can get like a broader picture of how it all works. It really started clicking for me, and I think I'll just share it with you all. The ultimate goal, I think, and I don't have a slide for this, but probably the goal of social media, I would think, is to ultimately connect with people. And the way that we're going to connect with them is by getting them to our church, somehow connected into our church. And the way that we get them connected into our church is through our website, because they're going to go to our website and they're going to see where we are, where we're located, when the events are, things like that. And then that drives the actual traffic to our churches. Hopefully when we open up again and we can meet in person. But right now we're driving the traffic to our website so we can, you know, push them out so they can get their, you know, our online virtual services and all of that. So I don't know if that helps any to kind of think of social media as like a tool to get people back to the website. Okay, so laying your foundation. Logo. So I put some logos up here of some local churches. I put, well, I don't know if you can see that. There's the Free Methodist logo. That's the Table Church. That's our logo. I love Ascend Mountain Church's new logo. I love the little trees. And then, you know, some of our Free Methodist ministries, Seed, Set Free. Here's Oasis in San Jose. And then I really loved this logo from the Free Methodist Church in the UK that James told me about. And they do a good job at their social media presence as well. So just kind of take a look at those logos. They don't have to, so logos are a huge part of branding. It can feel overwhelming to create a logo because you're like, this is it. This is how we're going to put our church forward. This is what we're going to do. And I have to make a decision because it's final. It's not the case. You can always rebrand later. Just, it's better to have a logo and just go with it. Keep it simple. Again, you can always rebrand it later. If you look, I love what Ascent did because they have like the little mountains, and then the Table Church, we have a table mountain. And so we kind of put a little table mountain right there. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It could just be, you know, just some font. I don't know, just with a little design. So keep it simple. So once you get your logo, one way, so I use Canva. Canva is amazing. And I have a whole resource list of things that I use at the end, and I can email that to you. I don't know how to share it here, but maybe we'll figure out a way to get that to you. But that's what I'm using right now, actually, for this whole presentation. This is a Keynote template, and this is Canva. It's free for the most part. There's certain aspects that you can't have access to unless you pay them. And I have the upgraded account because I use it all the time. But Canva is amazing. Go on, play around. You can create a logo in about 5 minutes, and they have all these preset ones for you if you want. Also logo, see there's the SPC right there. And if you noticed, I matched the logo colors with the branding of the whole presentation. So it's all consistency. All right, lay your foundation. Then lay your foundation for your website. So every church needs a website. And I kind of alluded to this before. Websites are for, who are your websites for? They're for new people interested in your church. They can also be for your members to go on and look at the calendar to see when events are, when things are happening. Keep your website simple and keep it updated. It doesn't have to have everything and the kitchen sink in it. Just keep it simple. People want to know what, like, think of a new person going to your church. Think of you, if you were going to a place that you had never been before and you wanted to check out a church, what would you be looking for? I would be looking for their address. I'd be looking for their telephone number. I'd be looking for when is their church time, their services. Those are like the three main things. And I might like go from different page to different page and look around and say, oh, look, they have some access to, or they have some, they have events and they have pictures and I can see the people, like, but mainly just keep it simple, keep it updated. Those are the main things with your website. Lay foundation as far as your other things with your website. There's so many platforms out there for website building. I use Squarespace. I love Squarespace. I think it's very user-friendly and intuitive. The Wix is another one. Faith Connector is what the conference uses. And then there's also, if you're just going for simple, there's Adobe Spark, which is basically just like a page that you put up and you scroll and it's just like a one-page website, which is simple and it's awesome. And I think that's free. So Squarespace, that's what I would highly recommend. That's what the Table Church, that's what we use for our website. Those are some, and again, these will all be in the, what I use in the resource little guide. Okay, so the third thing was, what did I say? I said the logo, the website, and your email list. So the email list is really, really important, I think, to communicate with your congregants. Pick an email platform. It's what the best thing about an email platform is that you can mail people in bulk, and people can subscribe to your email list through your website. You can set all that up, and it's really helpful. It's really easy to do once you create your website. You can create what's called a landing page, and then that'll pop up. Sometimes there's those super annoying pop-ups that we have on our church website, and it says sign up for our email list. And then people are like, ooh, and then they might put in their email, and then they'll get our monthly right now newsletter. So pick an email platform. We use Mailchimp. MailerLite is what the conference uses. There's another one called Flowdesk that I don't know much about, but I know that a lot of small businesses use that, and it has a really, they're really beautiful emails that go out. When you set up that email list, use that logo that you created, get it all looking similar. What we're trying to do is create a cohesive look so that when they get something from you, they know, oh, this is from such and such church. And when I click on it, oh, look at now their logo's on their website. I know that I didn't get lost somewhere. Oh, I know that and with all of that, you're building trust with the person who is looking at your website, the potential life saved. So all of that. So build your email list. A way to build your email list, that connection card that you get on Sunday morning, that's in person. I guess a lot of people have their digital connection cards right now too. Basically, you're just getting their email, their name, their number. If you wanted to get their birthday, you can get their birthday, whatever, anything that you would do back when we were doing just analog church, before email, before websites, before all of that, and people would like handwrite their little cards, is like these connection points. That's what we're doing, all that same stuff. We're just making it digital. So, and you can take those names and numbers on paper, like I said, or through your website with that little pop-up form. You can also, what's great about the emails, you can separate them into groups. So where did you input those emails? The pop-up form can have its own little group, and then you can kind of serve those different groups based on what they came to. So if people are coming to events and you got all of all those names and emails from a certain event, then they might want to come to another event. So like we have a Fair Trade S'mores night that we do at the Table Church. And so if we were to, which we don't, but if we were to take emails of all the people that came to those events, then I could put them in their own little group. And the next time I could send out an email specifically to them saying, hey, we're having another Fair Trade S'mores night. And they would most likely, all those people that got that email would go, oh, I want to go again. And then the emails are going to people that are going to unsubscribe because they're like, this doesn't pertain to me, So that's a great thing about email lists, and you can do all that in those platforms. And then I would, with the emails, send a weekly or monthly update. I would do weekly updates to people who are in your church, who you see and who you interact with and who you have relationship with within your congregation. Drink water. And then I would do a monthly update to a more broader email list. So for example, like at the table, we have people that want to know generally what's going on, but they live out of state. And so I'm not going to send them the weekly happenings in the church. I will send them a monthly email that says, hey, here's what's going on. And so they are in their own little email group. And then the weekly email group will get that people interact with more, like our actual congregation. I'll send them like a weekly update. You know who does a really good job at weekly updates is Corralitos Community Church. They do an amazing job. I signed up for their email list. And if you want to get a good idea of kind of some good content, good information to put in your email, then sign up for their email list. And I don't know, Gayleen, are you still here? I think, yeah, if you put those together, can you unmute for a second?
Yeah, I'm on mute. I'm unmuted. I actually am not the newsletter writer. I do help with it. We have a woman who's has a past in journalism and she's really great, but I do help design it some of the time. So yeah, but we use Mailchimp as well. And we use Canva to make the blocks, you know, the pictures and headings that we put into Mailchimp.
Yes. See, awesome. Yes, thank you. And
sure.
So probably if you headed over to their Facebook page, you could find a way to sign up for their email list and just kind of get an idea of some good emails to put in there. Let's see. Okay, we're going to go. We're still laying our foundation. Okay, still on the email list. So what to put in the emails? I have just a few little things. Photos and photos. I put that twice because I think it's doubly important. People love to see photos. They love them, especially photos of your people in your church, screenshots of Zoom meetings. They love to see faces of people that they know. And so even if it's just, it doesn't have to be a professional photo. Just take it with your phone and get it in there. So photos, links to the website. Again, we're trying to drive traffic back to our website. So you put your links to your, I think I have it down, links to sermons. You can put that in the newsletter, news in the church, stuff that's happening, just a little blurb. Any updated events, and that can be a little link that goes back to your website, calendar page. Birthdays, I thought that was fun. We just started doing that. Again, we were inspired by Corletus by their little newsletter, and people loved it. We got so many responses. They were like, oh, I didn't notice this birthday. The birthdays were in there before. Was this new? And I was like, yes, it is. So, but it was super fun. Keep it simple. Again, just keep it simple, straightforward. The more text that's in an email, I've noticed, and I don't know if any of you have noticed, that we don't tend to read those messages quite with as much fervor as we do when there's an email that's filled with really pretty graphics and photos. So just keep it simple. The less text, the better. And again, consider one for local, like a weekly one, and then one for more broad monthly. Okay, lay your foundation. Third one, Google account. This one's really simple and short. It just makes it easier for people to find you. I don't know if anyone's heard the term SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. It's a whole thing. Coders and people get paid big bucks to maximize your search engine optimization. It's super competitive on Google, so that when you type in the name of your organization, you are the top of the list. We're not going to do all that. Basically, just go on to Google Business or type in Google. I just did one for the church. We had one and it didn't have any pictures on it. And so I just added some pictures and I updated our COVID guidelines. I did it all from my phone. And then I updated our service times. And now when you type in, let me see if I can find it here. When you type in the table, church, look at that, shows up right there on Google. So that's what you're trying to do with the Google business, is just get it established so that you can.
And we weren't able to see that.
Oh, you weren't.
We're seeing
Share
your
it
slideshow.
paused. Bring your window to the front.
We're seeing your slideshow still, but.
Oh, it is showing the slideshow, so.
We trust you.
Okay. All right. You all can do it. Can you still, am I still presenting? Present. Can you still?
It went white.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You're back.
Okay. Obviously, I'm not an expert in this, so we're going to keep moving on. So yes, Google, your Google account. All right. Anyone feeling overwhelmed yet? This is just the foundation. But once you get it, once you get all these things in place, then things start to fall into place and it makes sense in your mind of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so once your foundation is in place, it's time to get social. And what are some of the social media platforms that we have? We all know them, a lot of them. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo is kind of, it's another like video type of platform, Twitter, Pinterest. I would say my recommendation to you would be pick 2 and go with those. Just pick 2. Don't get overwhelmed with everything. Just pick 2. And for those, for us, we utilize Facebook and Instagram. And since they're both connected, kind of right now, you can share things from Instagram to Facebook and from Facebook to Instagram really easily now. I'm going to count those as one. And we use YouTube because that's where all of our sermons are and everything like that. So I would just don't get involved in everything. Just narrow it down and then commit to those ones. Okay. Improve your social media for Facebook. So if you don't already have one, but I assume that all of us probably do, but create or update your Facebook profile. The key here is keep it consistent with your website branding and your logo. So what we did back in the foundation, we created our logo, we created our website, we've created maybe some cool little graphics on Canva with our colors that we like. Keep it consistent. So bring all that work that you already did and just bring it over to Facebook, bring it over to your profile. And we're looking for consistency, right? So consistency and cohesiveness throughout so that we're building trust with our potential person who's connecting with us and wants to check out our church. And we're making it clear that they're not getting lost of like, we have a different logo on our website than we do on our Facebook page. And then they're confused and then they're like, I don't know. So keep it consistent. Facebook, create and schedule posts. This can be kind of tricky, knowing what to post. That's really hard. It's hard to do on the fly. Let me say, it's a lot easier to do this in advance and schedule the things out. Sometimes you're at an event or you're doing things in person, or we're having like a live Zoom thing. Like I just screenshotted a thing this morning and shared it on the conference page, just so to let people know that it's happening now. And social media does like the algorithms and all that stuff. They like that to an extent. But I think for our own sanity, it's better to just plan this stuff out. And so what we do at the Table Church, and then also what we're trying to implement with the conference, is to have these daily themes. So just so you know what to post. So on Mondays, we repost the link to the sermon. This is at the Table Church. So we do call it Message Monday. And you don't have to say Message Monday on the post. You can just know, that that's the prompt to help you post. So Message Monday, we have a Newsy Tuesday. So something that's coming up in the church, or we post a link to our newsletter. We have a weekly Practice Wednesday, which James will sometimes share like something that he wants us to practice throughout the week. And so we'll share, hey, how is that going on Wednesdays? Have a Testimony Thursday. This requires some pre-work, pre-planning, because you have to contact people in advance and get them to share their testimony and then post that. Future Friday or Fun Friday, help people to get excited about Sunday or the weekend or something. And then Social Saturday, we ask a question because we want people to engage and stay connected that way. And then Worship Sunday, usually we just share something that is going on in the church on that day. Themes are really helpful. And there's all sorts of prompts online. If you just type in social media prompts, I don't know if there's one specific, there's probably some for church too, but they're really helpful. Or you just, ask your team, say, hey, what days should we post this? Or let's do this, Message Monday could be Missions Monday. You could share an update from your, from some of the missionaries or something like that. So themes are good. All right. Real quick, like inventory of your Facebook profile would be to check your social media handles. So your social media handle is the name that's underneath what it says. So if it says, like, I'll just use, again, our church, if it says the Table Church and then underneath it, it's that @ sign. So it says the Table Church, or I think ours is at the Table FMC. Check that handle, make sure that you have one. This is, I should probably put this under tips and tricks, but this is what allows other people to tag you in their posts. If you don't have a handle, then you're not going to be able to get tagged. And it's just, it can be frustrating for someone who's trying to like tag, I want to say that I went here. I want to say that I saw this person at the church or whatever. And just make sure that you have updated your handle there. Groups, Facebook groups versus Facebook pages. What's the difference here? I think it can be confusing sometimes. So for a lot of you, I may be just saying stuff that you already know, but a Facebook page is something that you would use, that you would want the public to see. So the way we approach it and the way that I approach it is that this is for the public. So like the grander public, not necessarily for only the people in your church. What you're trying to do is reach people in the community, in your local community. So maybe posting something that is more like for an email newsletter, like maybe something that's like, I'm trying to think of an example, information that may not be privy to like the public should not be posted on a page, if that makes sense. Try to keep it more general. And it's kind of tricky to balance that. This is for the general public or somebody who is checking out a church and doesn't need to know that, you know, so-and-so, I don't know, fell down and is in the emergency room. Like that, of course, we want to lift that person up and pray for them. However, that might be something more for a Facebook group or a newsletter or a prayer chain type thing, but posting it for the public to see on a Facebook page may not be the best place for that information. So Facebook group is what I would say, create a Facebook group for your church. We started one about 6 or so months ago for the table. And this reaches a much smaller audience. So this is for people that would probably be on my email list. These are people that we see every week. Right now, I think maybe we have 25 people in our Table Church group. And so this is where we share more intimate things. It's a private group. It's where we share our prayer requests. It's where we share, hey, meet us tomorrow here. We're going to be doing a cleanup, things like that we may not want the whole public coming to. So that little distinguishment between groups and pages. How often do we post? Once a day is good enough. And that's all pretty much that my own personal sanity can take. So just once a day, unless you're really scheduling out in advance or you're really trying to promote something and push it, really once a day is all it really takes to organically kind of reach the people that you want to reach. And respond to the people who engage. So if somebody likes it or if somebody comments, make sure you comment back, like their comment. If somebody shares your post, go on and you can see who shared. Say, thank you for sharing. Somebody sends you a message, respond to that message. Just make sure that you're responding to anyone who is engaging with you on Facebook. Improve your social media on Instagram. So I'm only talking about Facebook and Instagram here. I'm not going to do YouTube. I'm just not going to do that. But Facebook, Instagram. So again, with Instagram, we're going to create and update our profile. So I don't know if any of you have an Instagram. It can be daunting to learn a new platform. But like I said, Facebook and Instagram are now connected. So head over to Instagram, check it out. It's pretty easy to get going. Instagram is more for photos and a lot less what I've been told and how I've heard it described to me is Instagram is a lot less drama and Facebook is more like for words and things like that. So anyway, Instagram's great. Keep your profile really short and simple. Maybe just put your address, and it's really all that they allow you to do anyway, is just to keep it short. And again, Keep it consistent with your website branding and your logo and your Facebook. So keep all that stuff consistent. You can share your posts from Instagram to Facebook. Utilize hashtags. Hashtags is one of those things that work really well on Instagram, not so much on Facebook. So hashtags is basically you're like creating a folder for people to click on that hashtag and they can see like a whole album per se of other people that have used that hashtag. So we have on one of our hashtags we use is Fair Trade S'mores Night. And we can click on that hashtag Fair Trade S'mores Night and see if anyone else has used that hashtag. For the most part, not many other people have. If you want to keep a hashtag more exclusive to you and to your church, I would put like the Table Church Thermalito or something like that, that no one else is going to use, so that when you click that hashtag, you can see all the pictures that are in that hashtag. Hearts on Instagram are like likes. Saves, there's a new way, if you save it, that's also really helpful. And then DMs are direct messages, respond to those. And then also Instagram kind of started, well, after Snapchat and TikTok, they started using stories, and now Facebook has adopted the stories too. So that kind of started, really got going with Instagram there. And again, with Facebook, just post once a day. Stories, you can do more real time. That's probably fine to do stories in real time if you wanted to post more instantly or things that are going on. Don't
they just last 24 hours?
Yes, they do. However, you can save them to a highlight. And your highlights reel is what shows up under, they're like the 4 or 5 little bubbles that show up under your profile. So if you highlight that, your story, it'll save it to your little highlight reel.
I haven't caught that one yet.
Yeah. So that when people go, so if what Ascend does the, what'd you guys just get the award for?
Go Sundays.
Yes. So you could have a highlight reel for Go Sundays. And so if you were taking pictures in your stories of Go Sundays, then you would just put highlight in the bottom and it would add that to, and say add to Go Sundays. And so then when people go to your Instagram, they can go, oh, what's Go Sunday? And they click on that and they'll see all these pictures and stories and videos from your Go Sunday. So yeah, it's social media is like within each app, there's so many different little things that you can do. Okay, let's move on from there. Let me move this one over. Okay, so tips and tricks to improve your social media. I've already said this, schedule in advance. I rarely post anything in real time. This can be a hindrance to, Facebook and Instagram don't necessarily like you to schedule in advance using a third-party scheduling system. They kind of frown upon that. They don't like it as much. So if you can use one of their systems, like Facebook has a Facebook business suite that's free to schedule your posts, use their scheduling thing. I use a different one. I use what's called Sendable. You've also probably heard of like Hootsuite or Tailwind, any of those to schedule in advance. It's give or take. Sometimes they really take off those posts, and other times I'm like, oh, Facebook doesn't like that I'm using the scheduling thing. So I got to go in and kind of tweak it a little bit or get some, actual engagement on it before the post will take off. Another way to get posts really seen and to get your church seen is encourage your congregants or people, just encourage them to share your posts. If you can get somebody to share that on Facebook, it's really good. So sometimes we'll make a post at the Table Church and we'll share in our little chat group. We have a messenger chat group, but now we have we've moved that to our Facebook group. Not trying to confuse you all. We moved that to our Facebook group and we'll share there. Hey, can you all share this? We really want to get the word out. And so then we'll get, 10 or 15 people to share it. Another thing that really builds your following, builds up your page so that more people can see your page, is when you ask your people, your church, like your congregation, to invite their friends to like your page. So that's the little spot where they go and you hit invite, and maybe, I don't know if any of you have ever invited anybody to like a page before, but if you ask your people to invite their friends to like their page, your page likes are gonna skyrocket. Just last week, we were just like 5 or 6 away from hitting 1,000 with the table church. And so I've shared on my personal Facebook, I was like, hey, who wants to be the 1,000th person to like our page? And now we're up to 1,008. So it was more than that. But that had been, a few weeks without us really getting any likes. And I was like, let's get some likes today. So that was kind of fun. And with all that, now that's that many new people that are seeing our weekly messages and can get connected to what we're doing at the table. Another tip would be to encourage people to check in at your church or your small group when they're there. Just say, I was at the table. Like, you can do that. You've seen people check in on Facebook or Instagram. Encourage them to check in. Tips and tricks. Follow other people who are doing it well. So if you see a church that you like, or even just an account, it doesn't have to be a church, but I would recommend following other churches that you think are doing it well. Follow them and try to model after them. I read this book called Steal Like an Artist, and it's like, you're not really stealing. Everything is copied. Nothing is necessarily original. So if you can kind of look at what they're doing and go, oh, I really like the way that their logo is, and you can kind of model your logo after that. Not copy, but you can be inspired by what they're doing, and that can influence kind of how you kind of build your little logo and branding and all of that, and what they do. Another thing I would do is batch work. So batch working is just doing a lot of the same menial tasks in the same amount of time. So we have lives and we don't need to spend them on social media as much as many of us do. But it's supposed to be social and fun and not necessarily work all the time. So I would just pick a day and be like, I'm going to schedule my posts for the week. And right now I'm going to do all my Mondays. Okay, I'm going to do the next 4 Mondays and get those scheduled, and then do the next 4 Tuesdays, with Newsy Tuesday, let's get those four posts scheduled, and then, just go through. And then pretty soon you have a whole month of social media posts that are scheduled and can be your framework and kind of just laid out there. And then that leaves you up free time to post those instantaneous posts that you want to share. Like, oh, look at what's happening. Then you can share something kind of on the fly and not have to worry that, oh my gosh, I didn't do a post today. Nobody's going to know that Sunday's coming or what we're preaching on, or nobody's going to know about the small group. Like, it's already there. You've already taken care of that. The third thing would be to delegate. Find a person who is passionate about this and give it to them. Say, you get to do it. I would just make sure that you trust the person to whoever's running your social media to do it, that they have built a little bit of trust with you, that they aren't going to overshare something that maybe should not be shared with the public, that they will respond to people in a kind way, in a way that you would want your church to be represented. So I would definitely delegate that. And whatever you do, going back to the beginning, do it well, be consistent. So not only consistent and cohesive in your branding and in your logo, but consistent in your posting and consistent in your showing up. And then engage. And I loved this little quote, and I could not find who said it, but everything you want is waiting for you on the other side of consistency. And that is my presentation to you.
Hey, Erin, Pastor Sam wanted you to elaborate on handles. I screenshotted my Facebook page and put an arrow pointing to the handle and sent it to him.
Great.
But Sam, unmute yourself and see what else you need to know about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Erin. Love all this stuff. Just been typing away. Thanks for it. Just so I guess I was one of those persons who just felt like social media was something I didn't want to get into. So I'm totally late to the ball game here. I think I was more afraid of just how it just overwhelmed my time. And then now it's like, I've got to go and overwhelm myself in this time. Cause like you said, that's where people are hanging out. So the thing you talk about handles, number one, and then just a side note, you said it earlier. What was the program you used to create your slides?
Oh, Canva.
Okay.
Canva. Yes. And they have a free version. But I think the full version, the pro version, is like $12.99 a month.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Yes, I'm trying to think the handles. Let me see if I can share again. Give me just a second. Let me go to Facebook here. I know I didn't have little screenshots to put in there. Let me see. Pages. Okay. So let me see. Let's go to share. See if it'll, oh, there we go. All right, can you see? Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yes.
So this is the Table Church page. So this is under the Pages tab right here. So if you have a page, which most of us do, but you may not, Facebook will give you a little Pages tab, and that's where you go to manage all of your pages. So the handle is this little thing right here. So the Table Church is the title of our page, but our handle, this is what allows us to be tagged. So if I were to create a post at the table, see how these show up? I want to make sure that my handle is there. So let's see if I were to, I don't know, someone's trying to think of a church, another church. Let's see. Oh, let's do
AMC Colfax.
Okay, what is it?
AMC Colfax.
AMC. So AMC Theaters shows up. Colfax. There we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's the send. Yeah, so your handle's good. That's a good one. So now we can tag you. So I think the conference is SPC. Oh gosh, I should know it. Nope. There we are, Sierra Pacific Conference. Yeah. So just the handles, that's what allows other people to tag you. They need to be able to see your @ handle or whatever. That's your handle, your social media handle. That makes sense? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, very good. Anyone else? Sorry, we covered a lot. So
I have a question. Erin, can you see my hand? I have a question about something you mentioned with your newsletter. And I heard you say that you use Mailchimp. Yes. And one of the things you said was that you can have a pop-up that asks if somebody wants to be on the mailing list. Maybe you could elaborate on what that means and how you do that.
Yes. So with Mailchimp, it's called a landing page. So you should be able to go into Mailchimp, and on the, depending on what version you have, I think over on the far left side, you go to campaigns. Gosh, I just did this. I think you go to campaigns, and then if you scroll down, there should be a little, in the list, it says like landing page. And if you click that, it'll allow you to create a page to land. Mm-hmm. And you can enter, you can select what you want it to say. So have it say, or enter you really want their email is what you want, and their name. Mm-hmm. So I would make their name and the email mandatory. And you can have their phone number if you want, but some people don't like to give that out. And then if you go to your website, you should be able to take that. It'll give you a URL in Mailchimp, and you can embed that in your website. Now, depending on what you have, like with Squarespace, you can allow them to have a pop-up, create a pop-up there. And I'd have to go in and look. I can't remember exactly how you do that, but then you would just paste that page or that URL from Mailchimp in there, and then it would pop up.
So if I look at, it's more something to look at Mailchimp to see where that is than to look at my website and see, or do you have to do kind of both?
Let me think here. I think it depends on where you're going to share, where you're going to utilize that landing page, like that email collect.
Oh yeah, I think maybe I remember now what you were saying is if somebody's browsing around on your website, yeah, a pop-up comes up that says, do you want to get our newsletter?
Yes. And I'm trying to remember. I think Squarespace allows you to create your own landing page, but they do want you to connect it to Mailchimp because that's where they're going to send the email addresses. If that makes sense. But now I'm saying out loud, I think Mailchimp has its own landing page. Sorry, I'm not helpful with that. I'd go into Mailchimp and play around.
Mike says it's an option with Mailchimp.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't super helpful.
It gives me more than I got, when you mentioned it the first time, because that sounds appealing to have something pop up.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we're all annoyed by pop-ups a lot of the time, but
what you can do with Mailchimp is just get that landing page. Like you can create that landing page for Mailchimp and it'll give you the URL. Copy and paste that and make it into a Facebook post, and then have people, they can just go right there and sign up for the newsletter there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And some of this seems a little overwhelming and time consuming, but I am not the brightest bulb there is, and I managed to, get a nut every once in a while with all of this. One of my mom's favorite sayings, blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while. And, but it eventually just becomes, like drinking your morning coffee. It gets easier as you go along, and it's worth it. It really helps get you out there. Anybody else with questions, just unmute yourself and ask.
Question, but thanks. I appreciate that.
I have another question. When you talk about engaging and responding back to somebody who has commented on one of your posts, do you have a number of people who are sort of watching out for that? Or is it just you? Or I feel like some of those could just go by and nobody really noticed. And I wondered what your strategy was for that.
Good question. As of now, up until just a few weeks ago, actually, it was just me.
Okay.
We do have like 3 or 4 people that have access to our church Facebook page. It can get tricky when you're trying to run a live, like if you're doing a live streaming feed, because sometimes if the other person is on there communicating too, then you're both commenting as the table church or as your church. And you're like, so we've run into that issue before where I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to run this thing. And then they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't know I was logged in like that. And so that can be kind of tricky. As far as those posts that slip by, like I said, like we all have lives. And so I don't, unless it's something completely like urgent, whereas somebody's reaching out and it's like, I really need prayer, which we've had that happen a couple times. And we're like, okay, we'll reach out to this person. We'll respond like right away. For the most part, I just let them go until I do my social media day. When I batch work and I do all of that stuff.
Okay.
at once, just to alleviate some of the pressure and the overwhelm. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and I'll get to that on Monday, unless it's something that like could potentially, that may need to be removed or may need to be hidden.
Yeah.
People are people, and they'll sometimes say things that probably should just maybe be hidden on your feed.
Like my sister.
Oh, yes, Polly?
I just have it's more of a statement, but slightly a question, to be aware of that, because not too long ago, I sent a question over Instagram because the posting party had put the date, but not a time. And they never did get back to me, and I missed the event. And so I just was going to say, there are times which we're not perfect, but you know, yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to have a team. It's good to have stuff. Here's another thing. If the great thing about Facebook, I don't know if Instagram allows it yet. I'll have to check because they've done a lot of updates, but you can automate a response in your message so that it says, someone will get back to you. If this is urgent, please call this number, you know, or please reach out this way. And that can be a response that's automated, that just works for you. You know, if people reach out in Messenger, that can respond. That might be something to look into, to set up if you are concerned that you won't be able to get to all of that stuff, all those responses. Yeah.
Erin, I want to ask a question. I'm trying not to bring everything together. There's a GoDaddy account, there's a Wix account, there's you know, some other domain account, and now we're looking at mail programs. What's a great way just to bring it all, a system just to bring it all together? Because I'm everywhere.
Yeah. Oh goodness. I don't know. I think it's just getting the ones that you like and that you're comfortable with, and then putting the shortcuts on your computer, maybe creating a little folder that's like social media stuff. And then you have your access to all of those. So like for me, I know that I use Facebook and Instagram. I know I use Canva. I know that I use my Sendable. Sendable is the scheduling platform that I use. So I'll open my Sendable, I'll open my Canva, and then I'll have Facebook open. And then I have like a folder that I just throw all of my stuff in, and then I go and post it. Yeah, I don't, as far as your, like, GoDaddy's more for domain names, right? Or do they, yeah. So you shouldn't have to worry about the domain when it's connected. So the great thing about Squarespace is like, you can, like, all that should be taken care of, and you should only have to worry about renewing your domain, renewing your website once a year. So that should be consolidated in something. Yes, well, yeah, see, then you have a site for Squarespace open too, a tab. But again, I do those in batch work too. So once a month, I'll go in and I'll update all of our events. And if I'm feeling like I have a little more energy to give, then I might do the next 2 weeks of the next month. But what's really helpful too is when you do your website and just get that updated, all your events, and then you kind of know what kind of content you're going to put in your email, because you're like, oh, look, we have this event coming up and this and this. So then you populate that email, and then from that email, you can go, oh, these would be great individual social media posts. So then you've already done, you're just kind of repurposing all the content that you've already kind of done the work doing. So you just share the stuff in your newsletter onto social media, and then link it back to the website. So it's just like this little circle. It just kind of goes like that. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm from the Modesto Church. I'm Diane Hinckley. And we use products from ShareFaith. And the reason we do that is because it has your database to manage your giving records. It has an event calendar. It has the web page production. And then it has tools where you can text or call or blast emails to all your people that are in your lists. So it manages your people list, but it does have the web page on it, which is really great, and the event calendar that we link to our web page. So ShareFaith is it's a little bit pricey if you're a brand new church, but you can pare it down and use just what you want. So they might look at their website and see. It's called Breeze. Breeze is the database. And sharefaith.com is the company, but it's a real good all-inclusive. And then you just have to, split out to Facebook or Instagram and have your pictures and stuff in a folder to share those. But if they're looking for a web page and database and calendar, that's a good spot to start with. We've used probably 4 different database management packages. So those are just what we do in Modesto, and it's been real effective. And it's easy to learn. Yeah. Real easy. You don't have to write code or anything to do the web page. You just drop in. Yep. And they have tons of pictures and graphics and stuff to use. So it's, if you want something easy and quick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, yes.
I was just curious, for those who are using hosted programs, the actual cost. What are you actually paying? I know Luke was using one, I think, and Diana just mentioned one. What is the monthly or yearly cost you're currently paying?
For a website?
A website, hosting, if it has any bells and whistles, form mailers, on and on.
Just for us, we're just using the basic Squarespace package, and I think and that includes our domain registration, and I think it's about, if you pay annually, it's about $18 a month. So it's like 216 or 2 something for the year, I want to say. Yeah, that's really simple. I mean, just a straightforward, simple one then. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any.
Yeah, ShareFaith has, for the whole enchilada, I think it's like $600 a year, but it has a curriculum, children's curriculum that you can use digitally, and they have a ton of compartments and packages to use. But I don't know what we're paying for it. I can't tell you, because I think we still have the whole enchilada, but we're going to be paring it down because they were not using some of the packages. But we pay $50 a month just to use. Well, the Breeze database management also has a merchant account attached to it, so that we can receive giving online and stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, their website would be easy to figure out what works. There's a lot out there.
Yes. And then I would, if you can spare the $12.99 a month for Canva, I would do that. And Mailchimp, we just use the free version for our church. Mailchimp, I know MailerLite is also similar to Mailchimp, and MailerLite is what the conference uses. And I've been on that platform now for a few months, and it's pretty similar to Mailchimp, same sort of setup. So, but I think they pay for a certain, I don't know.
We have the pretty basic system.
Okay.
Mike uses MailChimp for his Kiwanis, and of course I've got the MailChimp for the office. And there's a couple of little things about it I'm not thrilled with, but it's not enough to change anything. I don't like the way you have to add and delete addresses and stuff.
Yeah, I think probably the big picture is just like, when you're making a social media post, do the people that you're posting this for, the people that are going to see the post, do they have a way to connect with you? Do they have an action step? Like, do they have a way to click on the post and be sent back to your website if they wanted? Are you easily accessible? Do I have to dig and try to find where your, you know, your phone number is or your email? How do I contact you? So going and refreshing those social media sites and putting in the correct links back to your website is really going to do a lot, I think, for your people. And just take a few minutes. I mean, I say a few, but it'll probably take you about a half hour to set up your little Google thing, so that's easier for people. They can just Google you and you show up right away.
And I know for a lot of us, we use PowerPoint or Keynote, and you mentioned Canva. Sorry to take everybody's time on this, but
yeah,
just a quick, like, I know you used it for your slides and for the logo. I really appreciated that. What kind of turned you over from PowerPoint, Keynote to Canva for us who use a lot of Keynote and PowerPoint?
So Canva is just a design platform. The program that I was using to share was a Keynote presentation. I typed in Keynote presentation, and then they had a template that I just used to design it. So it was still for Keynote. Let me see. I mean, we kind of are, we're done, but let me see. If you have a minute, I will try to.
We're actually scheduled till 2:30, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Okay.
So we can take as much time as.
Okay. Well, here, let me go to my share screen here. And I'm on Canva right now, if you all can see that. So this was the presentation that I did, and I just typed in, let me see. So it's canva.com. You can see that up on top. So I have these templates. I just typed in Keynote presentation right here. And then it shows all of these different templates over here. And I'm going to, hang on, let me go home. You guys are gonna see how messy my, my Canva thing is here. Here, I opened up a copy earlier. Let me see here. So this is a copy of one. So if I have my Keynote presentation, so these are just Keynote templates right here. So if I just clicked on, here we go. All of these different slides pop up, and I can click on that. And let's see, let's replace my current page. Add template as a new page? Sure, Canva, let's do that. Oh, look at that. And now it did all these different things. Let me just delete this one. And then I can add a page here, and I can make it that, and you just fill in your own thing. And then when I want to go present, then I just hit present, and I'm going to present it in the standard way. And there we are. So if you wanted to, I just did this for a friend the other day. He's like, I need an eBay logo for my little eBay business. Just if you go over here under templates, so you have your uploads here, things that you've uploaded, like you can upload your own videos, like this is how I made all the slides, or upload your own pictures, photos that they have access to a bunch of photos, elements or like little stickers or things like that. Text, they have access to all that. So I'm going to use templates over here, and let me type in logo. And that didn't work. Hang on, let's go home. Let's go search Canva. Let me just type in logo. So that pulls up all these different logos that they've already have, and you can just take those and use it as an inspiration for a logo. So let's click this one. And here we'll go, because there's a sun, I'll go sunny side FMC. And then whatever you want to, you can put your little tagline there. Tagline here. And then you can change the background. You know, you just go over and you just play around with it. You can add a little element, little stickers. Just add like a shape here. I mean, it's just the possibilities are just endless. I'm going to put this behind. So I'm going to go to position. I'm going to go backward like that. And I don't know, I can change the color of the sun so that it's like, just do it black. I don't know. Something like that. I mean, that is obviously, I don't know, you spend more time on it, but, and then you can download it and it allows you to download in all these different formats. So PNG, which is highly recommended, you know, your JPEG, your PDF, you can make it a little video if you wanted to. I can just see it's showing me right up here. Let's animate your design. Okay, Canva, what do you suggest? Let's make my design. And then it pulls up all these little page animations over here. Let's do a rise like the sun. Sunny side, like that. So now if I hit, just hit play. That's what it looks like. And then when I download that, I want to download it in MP4 video, wherever I'm gonna, you know, upload that or whatever. So you can download it as a GIF, you know, all these different things. So that's not, so it's not PowerPoint or it's not like a presentation software, but it does have templates for the presentation software. So it's just like a design platform. And I think you can share directly from there to your Facebook if you connected. I haven't done that because I have multiple things I would need to be connected to. So I just download them and then upload them. But it's really sleek, really nice. I love it. They earn, and this is a non-paid advertisement for Canva.
Yeah, superintendent likes Canva. I use for just like single pictures and stuff, over and text art. I mean, there's all kinds of little things you could do for taking pictures, and they have templates as well, and
yeah, that
kind of stuff. So when this train of thought wraps up, Pastor Luke has a question.
Oh yeah, I think, did we answer your question, Sam? Okay, all right. Go ahead, Luke.
So, question about pictures, and this question sounds really dumb in my head, even though I'm the teacher who tells people there's no dumb questions. I'm just like, it seems like I should already know this. You know, you've talked about the importance of imagery and that pictures are far more valuable in an email, in your regular newsletter, for instance, than a mile of text, and that Insta primarily functions off of images and all these things. I have no images to begin with, like a starting stock. How do I gather these things? How do I end up with a set of images to use of the people at my church? I don't know how to do that. And then there's the legality of posting images if you haven't asked people whether or not you can. And that feels super awkward. I was wondering if you had any advice for getting started in this direction.
Yes. So as far as the legality issue, we have with our kids. So we post a lot of pictures of the kids and other people in general. We have had a few. So we have on our kids sign up sheet, we have the option, you know, they can opt out or they just give us permission there. And then we go through those. So 99% of people are okay with their picture being posted. But we do have, you know, some foster kids that can't be shared online and other things. So we're just mindful of that. As far as like adults, we don't really police that. It's probably, I guess we just figure with social media and the way things are now, unless somebody, which we have had people come up and say, I don't want my picture online. That's happened maybe twice. And we, you know, adhere to their request. But for the most part, we haven't run into an issue with that. As far as your stock imagery, what I would do is, and with it being distance, it's so hard. But if you are doing like an online, if you're doing with distance, what I would do right now is that if you're preaching in the church, I would have somebody there or you even, and just do like a selfie. I would have somebody take, pictures of you preaching or whoever preaching or the praise team from like 3 different angles. And then I would get some pictures of outside the church, just picture from the front, picture from the side, just trying to build up like a stock of images that you can go to, and they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be, anything special. So one of the things we did here was like the kids wrote with chalk on the sidewalk. That could be your kids. They could write with chalk and then like uplifting messages, and take pictures of those and post those on your feed, that they can tell that, oh, this was taken at the church, and we don't know who wrote that, but it was local. That's cool. You're at your mailbox, like with your address on it, a painted rock in front of your church, like that says something. And then once we can start meeting in person again, then I would have somebody who's at the church just go around with their phone and just get some pictures, like say, hey, can you get like 10 pictures of people talking, or people like socially distanced with their masks, like something like that. And then I'd put them all in a folder, either on your computer, on Google Drive or wherever, so that you can have access to those. And just, it's okay to repost the same picture too. It's okay to repost it, utilize it, post it over and over. I wouldn't post it like within a few days of each other, but you can post it like maybe wait a month and then post it again. Maybe put it in a different design on your Canva or wherever, and then reshare it that way.
Gayleen has posted that regarding legality, the Carlitos Community Church, we have a statement in our printed program basically that says we take videos and photos for our CCC communications. That
like
covers
that.
your guns. Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Mikey's come a couple of times while we have our fireside gatherings and been taking pictures, so I can, have pictures and stuff.
And I always make a point, whoever your communication, and then another thing is too, like if you're the lead pastor of a church, I would delegate this out 100%. So get someone else, or unless you're really, really passionate about it, because you should be talking with the people instead of taking a picture. But I would, like, whenever we have, like we were doing we had a Fair Trade S'mores night outside the other couple weeks ago, I can't remember. And just before we left, I was like, hey, can you just Facebook Messenger me those pictures, because I don't want it taking up space on my phone. So if they just put it in Messenger, then we can utilize all of Facebook's data. And so I just have them message me those on Messenger, and then I download them from there. And yeah, it's good.
You mean you don't have like 1,300 photos on your phone?
I do. That's why I'm like, please send them in Messenger so I can. Don't text them to me because it takes up my phone data.
It's obscene the amount that are on my phone.
Luke, I could say one other thing. Am I unmuted? Yeah. We also, a lot of us use the Apple phones, and we have an Apple shared album for Carlitos Community Church. So certain ones of us are sort of shutterbugs, like I am. Everyone knows I have the phone out. I just kind of think that way. Oh, catch a photo of this. But we put them in a shared album, and those stay in there, and you can go back through there. Oh, that was Super Sunday. It showed us in the Redwood Forest. Let's pull that out. It makes us look really fun, or whatever. But everybody can add to that individually and pull from that, whether it's a video or a photo. And I'm sure Google Photo, whichever platform you're using.
Is that Google that you use then?
We use Apple.
Apple.
Mm-hmm.
An Apple shared folder. Okay.
Yeah, shared album it's called. Like if you take a picture and it says add to album, you can just put it in a shared album that we all have access to.
Well, I'm going to write that down because I did not know about that.
Yeah, it's really good. And then I can take from there and upload it into Canva, or upload it from there straight as a Facebook post. Yeah, I'm just getting into the social media on our church. I just started going to the planning meetings for that. we have a 20-something who's really in charge of it, makes that rotation like you have, Aaron. Like we do a takeaway from the sermon on Monday, and a word of encouragement on Tuesday, and one of those fun questions on Wednesday, and a throwback Thursday, or whatever. So we do, or flashback Friday, I think it is.
I love that. Yeah, the themes really help it.
It helps
take the weight off of trying to manifest some sort of post out of nothing.
Yeah. And then we assign those to different people. Like I had the verse of encouragement this week, but I won't for like another 2 weeks. My husband always does the teaching takeaway, and so it's really easy for him. He's the lead pastor, and he picks a quote that he intentionally said in his sermon, like writes it. So, anyways.
That's awesome. No, I love that. Yeah, getting a team is good. Sometimes, sometimes it's hard. Well, as we know, it's hard working with people sometimes, but it also alleviates some of the stress of having it be on one person. So.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, it's almost 2:30. Oh, did you have another?
No, I was going to say, I think unless anybody else has any last minute questions, I think this has been really fabulous.
Yeah.
For
Thanks, Aaron.
as much as I put into practice, know and don't yet put into practice, I still learn some things.
Good.
It helps that I have a son who's like major, all that stuff. So, but like I said, Mama needs to put on her big girl panties and let the boy do his thing so I can take care of my stuff. Anyway.
Thank you all so much for.
Thank you.
Share.
Thank you.
Aaron, will you go ahead and close us in prayer?
I will. Oh, Lord God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for everyone here, for the whole ME4 experience this morning, and then just the breakout sessions. We ask that you would just be with each person, that you would bless them, undeniably bless them today and the rest of this week, that you would make your presence known to them, and that we can just feel your presence, Lord, as we go throughout the rest of this week, and that we can be encouraged, knowing that you are with us, that we are thinking more than conquerors, that we are victorious, that we will rise through this time, this pandemic time, and move into a new season, hopefully soon. We love you, Lord, and we say all these things in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Emerge victorious, everybody.